over me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm hoping you're having a great weekend. You're off to the start now, anyway. At least you're through the gate. Hope everything's going great in your world. Everything's going phenomenal in mine, but it's just busier than hell. Oh my God! I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just man, I'm just running on fumes here, ladies and gentlemen. But I always got enough energy to give you a portal because this is one of those things I just love doing, no matter how I'm feeling. As certainly Don can attest, there'll be many times when we're about to go on air, and it's like a half hour before the show, and I'm hardly staying awake. But as soon as that music comes on, it's like I get charged up and ready to go. So I hope you guys are ready to go. I hope we have a great show lined up for you, but if you'd like to be a part of the show, you have something you'd like to share, some feedback, some opinion, some paranormal happening of your very own, please feel free to call in. The number is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. And unlike the other TFR line, I don't have a UK access line, so it's just this, 720-923-0500. But I think this, it might be worth the long distance charge. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But there is always email or other ways. Certainly, if you're in if you're listening to the sound of my voice, but you're not on one of our chat channels, then you can certainly do so. There are two options available, one of which is to go to tfr.com or tfrlive.com/chat, and you can join the group over there. A bunch of phenomenal people, wonderful. They've been around for, so many of them are literally always there and always taking part in all of the shows. Just an amazing group of people. Otherwise, you can head over to YouTube if you want to watch the live stream of the Paranormal Portal, which I try to make visually interesting, but you can do that by going over to youtube.com/paranormal portal. We are live there currently as we are broadcasting on TFR. So there's a couple of options, but I hope you get involved because for the Paranormal Portal, the chat rooms are honestly a really, really big part of our shows. And I know they are for every TFR show. Every TFR really gets a lot of engagement, a lot of material, a lot of feedback from our chat rooms. I mean, you guys that are in those chat rooms literally are very much the backbone of what we do here on TFR. So thank you guys for always being here. Whichever room you're in, thank you all for being here. And there's quite a few of you. I'm going to go through the list of the TFR. Right now, I'm in there. TFR Wookie's in there. Lynn is in there. Joe Joseph's in there. Good to hear you, Joe. You guys were great. What's this? Lingsboard. Good to see you, Lingsboard. Paradoxical Anomaly. Psycho Dave's in there. Waffle Buddy. I love that name, Waffle Buddy. That's awesome. Daryl Bowles. Luista. That's Lewis. Who's he's usually in both rooms. He's a multitasker. King Sweet is in there. Delete the Elite. Divine Creature. Mysterious Chatter. Ken is over there. So a lot of people are in there, or at least were in there. But if you want to see the stream, head over to YouTube and check us out over there. And let's see. We've got a few rolling in over here. But let's see who's in there. It's time for the roll call. You know what I'm saying? So right now, and the list is growing, and I know these YouTube lists are not complete at all, because every time I read the list and I'll go back and there's so many more names in there, but I'll go through this first. Black Tree Julia is in there. Black Tree is the chat name, but Julia is her name. Cade Shipley, Laura McKenzie, sorry. Lewis is in there, like I said, multitasker. Nellie is in there. Nick is in there. I'm in there as well. Renee is in there. Suzanne Lucero O'Brien is in there. Wonderful to see you. And Terrestrial Mac, the Rotman, and Virginia is in there. So wonderful to see all your faces. Virginia, I did get your email. Excuse me. Sorry, I just took a sip of Coke, and I should know better. But I love that stuff, and I treat myself once a week on it. So, but I'll get in contact with you. I got to do the same thing with Nick about some things he wants to go through that he sent me. So there's a lot of things in the works. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really burning the candle on both ends in a good way, because I love dedicating so much time to the portals. I'm doing 10 episodes a week currently, and it's a lot. Some days, some weeks, it's more than 10. But so far, with both the TFR shows, our YouTube presence, and now our podcast, which is brought to you by Revolver Podcasts, who's put us out there. We do 3 podcasts a week as well, so that's it's quite a laundry list, and I'm just really grateful that I have made so many contacts throughout the course of doing the portal, that even doing that many shows and having that much going on, we still have so much material and so many resources to help take advantage of all of that. So I think next week, ladies and gentlemen, as an early notice, I think next Friday, a week from tonight, Deb Varner, I believe, will be joining us, if I haven't screwed up the the schedule. But I think she'll be joining us, and we'll be doing free psychic readings. So a week from tonight, which will be, let me get the calendar open if it'll open for me. Hold on. Sorry. That will be the 17th, I think, is when Deb's going to be joining us. Deb, you'll have to let me know for sure if I've got that right, because I don't think I wrote it down anywhere. It's probably in our messages back and forth, but it is the 17th, she says. Yep. So she will, and I don't know if I said your name before, but Deb's in there as well on YouTube. So definitely make sure to participate in those shows. Deb does an amazing job. We've had so much amazing feedback from people that have participated in those readings, and many of them continue to call back. But Deb also does private readings. If you'd rather not do your reading on the air, I'm here to tell you that not only will you get an absolute top-notch psychic, but the prices are just unbelievably reasonable. Like, unbelievably reasonable. You're not going to find a reading of that quality anywhere near her price point. So you can contact her by emailing purplemysticreader@gmail.com. So that is certainly an option for you as well. But tonight I have a few things to go through. I've gotten a few emails with video. For those of you on TFR, it might be, I'll do my best to explain what we're showing, but it's really, really impressive footage. And if you'd like to see the footage, just head over to Paranormal Portal on YouTube right now, and I will give you a couple minutes if you guys want to check them out. But I got a couple submissions from listeners of paranormal video, and they're not long, but they are really impressive. Really, really impressive. So if you want to check them out, definitely head over there to YouTube. Otherwise, I'll do my best to explain for those of you who may not be able to head to a video or head to YouTube to check out the video. But we did get those, so I want to go through those right off the bat here. And of course, tomorrow Don will be back here in the studio with me for our Saturday edition, which will be a lot of fun, and that'll be a mayhem edition. So I've been really having a lot of fun with those shows. It's just great to unwind and relax with you guys and just have great conversations. So, and I really appreciate all the participation that has made these possible. So tonight I wanted to talk a bit about the events of paranormal events. The unexpected events is what I meant to say. When the paranormal happens. Now, for a lot of people, when things like this happen, it really does. And this is something I've mentioned many times on the show, but it really does reshape many people's worlds. Not all people, because there are many people out there who already have existing beliefs in this stuff. But when it happens for some people, it really creates a lot of chaos in their world. When we had, for instance, when we had Kevin Lang on, he explained to us a story of a man that lived in the town he grew up in, and this man was out camping, and a Sasquatch dropped a tree on his tent, and the man saw it. He didn't get horribly injured, as I understand it, but it was really close. Well, of course, the guy was in shock. He was all beside himself. He came back into town sharing his story because he had just seen something that couldn't possibly exist, or he didn't believe existed. Well, he immediately became the social pariah of the town. Nobody wanted anything to do with the guy. He became that weirdy over there, and so he became the butt of a lot of jokes. He became, ridiculed and made fun of endlessly, and it drove him to pretty bad case of alcoholism, but as I understand it, and I suppose that's a coping mechanism for someone that has nothing else, and they still can't process their events. Now, I also wanted to touch base on, and this is something we've covered on the shows before, but since we're talking about paranormal events, a couple of things happened here at the house lately, and I'll get into those as well and explain to you what happened. But I've come to realize that my little one is perhaps picking up on something. And it's a little bit concerning because I don't know if he knows how to handle it, and I clearly have a lot of work to do around the house to knock the energy down. But he had an event last night that not only freaked him out, but freaked my wife out as well. And she's not really interested in the paranormal at all, and usually just dismisses it. Not that she doesn't believe in it per se, but she just doesn't give it any time in her life. But sometimes things have happened that I've shared on the show before that have created this, these moments that she couldn't ignore. I guess I'll get into my little one's experience right now. So he's already had a couple of incidences of perceiving something. When he was just learning to walk, he knew a handful of words, a few words, but he was walking around doing wonderful. Suddenly he started, I don't know, I don't know exactly what had happened, but he was walking out in the living room in front of my wife and I, and we were sitting right there, and he walked towards the doorway of actually the room that I'm in right now, where I have the studio set up, and he said, he didn't say anything at first. He just got really big, like saucer eyes, turned around, bolted for his mom, crying, saying, "Monster, monster, monster, monster." And, we didn't really know what to do with that. I didn't, of course, discount it. But what I found was that I almost fell into the very same trap that I think a lot of parents fall into when trying to help your child deal with paranormal events. And as parents, we want to diffuse that fear. But the way we usually diffuse it is by saying, "There's no monster. There's nothing there. It's okay. There's nothing there," and I think that what that does is it cripples that child in a sense. So I was responding to this. I was like, "Oh, and I started to say, "No, and then I stopped myself and I said, "Did you see a monster in there?" He's like, "Yes," and he didn't have a big vocabulary. So I said, "Do you want Daddy to go look with you to make sure it's okay?" And he said yes. So I picked him up in my arms and we went into the room, turned on the lights, and looked around, and he felt better. Now, this is not a child he was already well familiar with the room. This is not a child at that age that was really fabricating reality. I mean, he was just a witness to reality. And so I really believe that he saw something. And then when like maybe a week later, we were at Walmart, my wife and I and my child, and he was in the cart, and we're rolling by this display bin right in the middle of the aisles where they put all those, really cheap things. And what it was is a bin full of these, like, I don't know, they're like stuffed armchair backs that you can put on your bed for reading and stuff. So it's like the I don't know, the stuffed fabric with stuffing in them that are meant to be like a chair back. So you put it up in your bed so you can sit up and read, so you don't cock the pillows up and, screw your neck up or whatever. So there's an entire bin of those, and we rolled right by it, and he looked over and saw the black one, and he pointed, and his eyes got big again. He said, "Monster, monster, monster." And he was pointing at the black fluffy one. None of the other ones bothered him, but that black one with that really fake fur exterior really freaked him out. So it helped me to understand that what he saw was something that must have been like a black shadow or shape, and didn't have real defined edges, so it didn't look like a person, but he just knew it was a monster. So we got through that, and there was many other things. But last night, now he's 3 years old now, so he's got a really extensive vocabulary, but he and his mom were sitting up in his bed, and I had gone to bed because I was exhausted by that time, and then I suddenly, my wife is shaking me awake, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And she said, "Something wrong with Elijah hearing something." And I'm like, "What did you hear?" And she said that he was sitting in the bed, and all of a sudden he started like freaking out and waving at his ear, like something was right in his ear. And then he started crying and ran to his mom, and she didn't hear anything. And I'm like, "Well, what did you hear, buddy?" And he said, "I heard, in my ear." Like it was right in his ear. So much so that he was waving it away, like, something was there. And when he turned and nothing was there, he freaked out and ran to his mom. So very weird occurrence. I don't know. I can only assume that it could be something. I don't know what else it could be, but I believe he may have had another experience. So, but I think it's important for parents in those situations to listen. So many times we cover these stories of children having these amazing, and terrifying events. And so what do? They run to the comfort of the people that they love and know will care and protect for them the most, their parents. But as parents, again, we have this tendency to want to go, "No, it's okay. There's no monster. Come look," And so basically you're telling your child, you're not seeing the things right. You're seeing them wrong. It's not true, and whatever you're seeing is not actually there. And so I think it really shuts down their ability to perceive these things. And through time, maybe they shut it off, because if they do see it, they just go into that mental place that just shuts it off. It's not there. Mommy and daddy said so. And either that or they're tormented and having to deal with it all by themselves because they know they can't talk to their parents anymore. That's not a safe place anymore. To go and share that and help reconcile and understand that. So, I think it's really important to listen and let them process that and try to support that as much as you can. That's kind of just my 2 cents on it. But you hear that all the time. "No, there's nothing in your closet. No, there's nothing under your bed. You're just being ridiculous." Or, "Oh no, it was a nightmare." And it's a parent's response to try to calm their child, of course. But I think that those things happen. I think children do see things much more often than we adults do. And I think that it's important to at least let them talk and share and have a discussion. Now, if you don't believe in paranormal and you don't like it in your house and don't want it, then teach them to pray it away. Teach them to, to tell it to get out. It's if you believe that those kind of things are evil, tell them to, pray about it or call to God to help or whatever you got to do. But don't dismiss that fear, because children suffering alone is a really, really tragic thing. And especially to something they can't possibly comprehend at their age. They can't quantify it. They don't know what to do with it. They just know something's there that's terrifying them. And so I think that's important. I think so. But, and I'm sure all of y'all that are parents understand. And I just caught myself doing that. And I was just like, "Oh, no, I almost did it myself." So I think it's important. Now we're down to about 6 minutes. Okay, I'll tell you the other thing that happened, because I'll show the videos then after the break that were submitted. But the other thing that happened was last night, I got done with the bedtime story show. It was a great show and a lot of wonderful, wonderful compliments. I really appreciate that, guys. Thanks, thanks a bunch. But I got done with the show and then I was already exhausted because yesterday I started at like 4:30 a.m. and it was what was it, about 8:30 or 9, and then I had to record a podcast up until, an hour podcast that ended up getting done at around 10 or 10:15. And as I was doing the podcast, I have the Ghost app running, and it's running tonight, but it's really quiet. Now I haven't saved or anything, but I really felt like I was almost drunk, for lack of a better term. And I don't drink. I mean, I'm not opposed to alcohol. I'll have a beer or whatever, but I obviously was not under any substances or alcohol or whatever. But I felt really kind of like, I don't know. I felt like had been drinking, and I was like, "Oh man, this is I equated it to an energy, like there was an energy in the room, and suddenly, boom, the ghost box says energy, and I was like, "No way!" And I looked over and looked at it, and then I got the ghost sensor, which makes this really creepy sound, and I guess they do that for shock value or whatever on this application, but and it said that it was like right here. As the camera is pointing at me, I have a monitor right in front of me, and right alongside the monitor was where that ghost radar indicated this was. Now, full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, I don't put a lot of stock in the ghost radar. It may or may not work. I don't know, but the science behind it is sketchy, but I think it's fun, and it does. Every once in a while, it really correlates to what's going on. So I was feeling that energy, and I thought energy, and then boom, the thing said energy. So I thought, oh, that's really a reinforcement of sorts. And then the ghost radar went off, showing the presence. Now I looked over, and then I was looking over like this, and I looked back on my screen, which has the production software running, and this has never happened before. But my screen froze on me looking like that, and I'm looking at my my picture on it, and it absolutely froze. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's never done that before. So interesting. Is it paranormal? Not necessarily, but it is weird. It could be. I don't know. Just throwing it out there, but lots of strangeness going on for sure. Quickly though, I wanted to discuss this one. There's this one little article that I pulled up, and I wanted to see what you guys think. Now, apparently, what's the guy's name? Oh, now it said something. Now it says stupid things too, and I don't understand that. So that's why I don't really put a lot of stock into it. But it said vegetable, which makes no sense at all. All right, so this article says ghosts are definitely not real because the biggest science experiment in the world would have found them by now, according to Brian Cox. And Brian Cox is this scientific from the BBC. He's a scientific guy from the BBC, I believe. And I don't know. I don't detract anything from him, but obviously he doesn't believe in the paranormal too much. But he believes that the Large Hadron Collider would have shown some kind of proof of ghosts by now. And I wonder how they quantify that. And what he says, let me just look at the timer to see what I got here. I got 2 minutes. I'm going to go through this real quick. I think it's ridiculous, but people have wondered for perhaps as long as life itself whether people's spirits can live on in the world once their body dies. But the TV professor says that they definitely don't, since CERN's Large Hadron Collider would have stumbled across one. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but that kind of arrogance is just profound. That's a profound level of arrogance. He said LHC is the biggest particle accelerator ever built, and includes a huge ring of superconducting magnets and accelerators that fling particles around, sending them into each other at such speed that they can be used to understand some of the most fundamental properties of the universe. In doing so, scientists can find out how the elementary particles interact, behave, and understand they work to decompose the world or they work to compose the world that we live and see around us. So he believes that since nothing has been detected in the Large Hadron Collider, that clearly ghosts are not real. Now, I don't know if ghosts were these random events of energy that just had no intelligence, then I could say, well, maybe you're right. Maybe they should have appeared. But as far as I understand it, in most cases, ghosts are intelligent, or at least have intelligence, and perhaps they don't want to be around the Large Hadron Collider because maybe, just maybe, such a large electromagnetic force with such fundamental physical reactions and subatomic reactions going on, and possibly quantum reactions, or probably quantum reactions as well going on, perhaps that's absolutely deadly to a ghost. We don't know. I mean, we don't understand what they're made of at all. So I don't know. I get a real charge out of that kind of arrogance. And if you want to see the article for yourself and read it at length, it's coming from the independent.co.uk, and it's from their news section, Science, Ghosts, Brian Cox, Large Hadron Collider, CERN, Real Truth, Standard Model Physics. And so that's kind of a mouthful, but if you go to independent.co.uk or search for Brian Cox and ghosts, I'm sure you'll find the article. That kind of arrogance really surprises me, but I guess it shouldn't, right? But anyway, we're going to go to our break, ladies and gentlemen. First break, I'll come back with listener mail and show those videos that were submitted, and then we'll get into some more craziness right here on the Paranormal Portal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Paranormal Portal is into the second half hour of the night, so I hope you guys are ready. Now, as I was saying before the break, we've received a couple of really excellent videos that have been shared to us by listeners. Excellent material. I just, one of them's really, really got me scratching head. One of them's just a really excellent catch, and I'm saying excellent an awful lot, aren't I? But one, wow, there was two of them. There you go. But one of them just really has me scratching my head. It's just like I know what I think it is, but and if it is indeed that, then I think it's incredibly profound. But anyway, let's get to the first one if you guys are ready. And those of you on YouTube or on tfrlive.com, I'll show the video and give a little play-by-play here of what's going on. But I'm going to put it on full screen here so everybody can see just what's going on. So, well, I kind of did that. Hold on. Let me give you a little background first. I'm getting ahead of myself a whole bunch here. All right, let me give you the background of this one. So, all right, this is from a listener named Sharon, and she says, Brent, my son-in-law stopped by Jake Brown's Burger for lunch in Greenville, North Carolina, and he's sitting eating lunch, and a bar stool moves. And let me click on that because that's not all she said. He said it moves, and it's caught on tape. I just wanted to share it with you. Spooky, and it really is. It's really an amazing capture. So I'm going to show that to you guys now. It's a pretty quick clip. So you got to watch, but for those of you watching on YouTube, look in the back and you'll see there's two guys sitting at a table in the back part of the shot here. And they both have blue shirts on and shorts, but behind the guy on the right, pay attention to that bar stool right there and, you'll see what's going on. So I'm going to play it now. And there it is.
Yeah, he's got a lane.
Boom. It just slid in. That is just incredible. What a capture. And the people were aware of it. So the bar stool, for those of you that aren't looking at the video, the bar stool is sitting about, I don't know, half or 3/4 out from under the table. And then as the video plays, suddenly, boom, it gets pushed in. So it's like the actions of somebody that used to work there or something, or somebody that maybe owned the place at one time. It's just pure speculation, of course, but the reactions of the people, show they definitely caught it. But I'm going to play it again here. And again, right here is what we're looking at back in the back of the shot, that bar stool.
Yeah, he's got a lane.
Boom. Yeah. And the people at the table, the two people, are right there, and they realize they heard the sound and can't quite figure out what the hell's going on. But I don't know much about the location. One more time, I'll show it. I don't know if it has a history for this stuff or not, but allegedly something could be there. All right, one more time.
Yeah, he's got
And
a lane.
boom. So the guy on the left, he saw the whole thing. He had to, or she, is that a she or he? I can't tell. It's I don't have my glasses on, and it's a little grainy. Maybe it's a she. Maybe it's a couple there. And I apologize if I'm misrepresenting that. But the person on the left definitely sees it, and the other guy turns around going, huh? But the guy that's sitting in the foreground is wearing a camouflage jacket, bald head, and he even turns because apparently that stool must have made some noise as it moved. So very cool capture, and thank you so much, Sharon, for sending that in. That is incredible. I really appreciate it. That's the kind of stuff that I absolutely adore here on the show. The emails and videos now have been excellent. Before I showed you the one sent in by Christy that her family had the cooler handle that was playing around. Well, here's a bar stool. So there's lots of weirdness going on, and it's getting captured. Now, could it be fake? Sure, but who's going to sit there and pull a string for a security camera? Very bizarre. All right, so that's that video. Now the next one is coming. It's coming from our listener Cade, and in the YouTube chat room, and it's really, really cool. Now, I don't know for sure what I'm looking at, but whatever this is, I'm going to let you guys see it and you decide. And then, well, I mean, I'm going to play it through a couple times, let you guys see it, and you can let me know what you think it might be. But I'll tell you what I think it is afterwards. But let's start this here. Let me pause it. Okay, let me get back to the beginning of it. Okay, so essentially it's a camera shot. It must be some kind of security camera or what, of a like a storage room or a basement or a shed or something. Let me read his email to give the background of this, of what this was. Hold on, let me move this out of the way. All right, get into the list. There we go. All right, he says, all right. Hey, love the show. Thought I'd send this to you. My girlfriend's grandfather found this on his security camera. Thought you might be interested. Keep doing what you're doing with the show. It rocks. Keep up the good work. And thank you so much for the kind words. But and he doesn't imply what this is. He doesn't imply in his message what it is, which I like. I like that people kind of leave it open. But I'm going to show the video now, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you find it as profound as I do. It could be something mundane, but I've never seen anything like this before. So I'm going to the camera, and the anomaly that we're looking at is already on screen at the beginning of this clip, and it's right in the top center, a white-looking anomaly. Watch this, everybody, and tell me what you think. What the hell? I'm going to play it again. That is incredible. That is just it's. I swear to God, to those of you that aren't able to watch this, and I hope you can get to the YouTube and watch the replay at some point if you're not able to watch it now. But it looks like Tinkerbell. It looks like a little fairy is what I'm seeing. I'm playing it again. It sits there like right in front of the camera. Now, could that be some kind of weird bug? I guess. I don't know. But I've never even heard of something like this other than it being potentially fairies. And I do believe those things are around, ladies and gentlemen, and it might seem kind of flaky, but this is a legend that has persisted through millennia of time. And people still report seeing them to this day. Now, is it impossible that one would finally show up on camera? Look at that. It's just, what is that? It looked like Tinkerbell. It looks like a female fairy for a couple frames there. I wonder if I can. I'm going to play it and try to pause on that frame if I can. Boom. Boom. It's not as responsive on this stock player in my... Oh, I was just missed it just a second. Let me see if I can go back just a hair. No. Yeah, see, like there. That to me looks like a head, perhaps some arms, and the wings are fluttering. Now, it could be some weird kind of insect, and I'm not claiming to know for sure, but my God, that looks like a fairy. It looks like a humanoid shape with wings. And one more time, just because I find this absolutely fascinating. That is incredible, Cade, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't have an answer for that. Now, again, I don't pretend to know every bug that's out there. I don't pretend. The green square is because it's from a security camera, so it's just targeting some movement, and many security system cameras do that, so that's not unusual. Yeah, the green. Yeah, Lewis says the green square is tracking the anomaly, right? So the people in there, right? That's what I thought, Virginia. I thought, my God, that looks just like a fairy. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But Well, no, the green again. Lucky the green is just the security cameras will highlight the anomalous movement, and I don't know. Maybe it's because the security companies think you need. It's like the red circle that people put on their YouTube videos. Like, here's where the movement is. It's just a highlight, but very wild. Yeah, it does. It looks like Tinkerbell. Gemini says, not just any fairy, but Tinkerbell. And granted, it could be some weird bug. I'm not on record here saying it's a fairy, but my God, that's crazy, huh? So I guess I left it on the chat window, didn't I? There we go. Very cool, and thank you guys so much for sending in those videos. That's phenomenal. Yeah, the call lines are open if you want to be a part of the show. Tell me what you think that was on that video. I'd love to hear what you thought. Could be a bug? Yeah, I guess it sure could be. Again, I'm not a bug expert. I'm not really even sure what region this was from. So, I don't know. I don't know where Kate is from, to be honest with you. And Kate, I don't know. Yeah, Kate's in here. I have no idea so I figured to let you guys take a look and see. Right. So, Kate, where was this captured? What region, if you don't mind? I think I asked him, actually. Hold on. Oh, it was captured in Nampa, Idaho. Yeah, I did ask him in the email. I was like, where's this from? So it's from Idaho. Apparently there's potentially fairies here. And I do live here, and I'm here to tell you, I've never seen a bug here that looks like that. Male mosquito? I don't think so. Rand Electric, a male mosquito. No, I've seen male mosquitoes, and they're just about the size of a zit, even here in Idaho. Even though they bite really aggressively here in Idaho, and I come from Minnesota, where they are plenty aggressive. But yeah, it's dragonfly. Let's see. Let's look at it again with that input. Does it look like a dragonfly? You know what I'm seeing though is these long. It does look like there's potentially some other long spindly legs that could be dangling below it as well. I don't know what makes up what looks like the legs. I don't know. It does have these weird stick things, which could very well be insect feed. It's just a strange insect, and that is a possibility. But I don't know. That is wild, just wild. Now, it does look like a Tinkerbell. Now the ghost box said shape. That's an interesting correlation as we're talking about this anomaly. So I wonder what the ghost thinks it is. You'll have to let us know what you think it is. So let me when it comes back through again, I'm going to pause it, and I'll show you if it'll pause at the right spot. No, not there. There. Now you see there's some long dangling things here, which could be some huge extended legs of an insect. It's not impossible that it's an insect, and I don't mean to imply anything else. I went a little bit farther. I want to try to go back there. You see all these little extensions coming off it from many different angles. They could be some form of lens flare. I don't know, as the IR light is clearly illuminating this pretty brightly. I don't know that this is its own internal light. I think it's just, close to the camera, but it does shoot far away, and it's still substantial in the frame. And even when it flies out through what looks like a garage door that's open, it does seem like it's still very substantially sized. So it would be a very large insect if it was, if that is indeed what it is. Could be just the fairy dust. I don't know. But very, very interesting. And I'm very honored you sent that in. I think it's a hell of a capture. I can't say for sure that it's paranormal or that it's a fairy or other thing. I don't know, but it's something. Isn't that isn't that a profound statement of the night? Well, that's definitely something. Yes, it is. But what? I can't pretend to know. But thank you, brother. I appreciate you sending that in, and thank her family for us, if you would, because I mean that's really cool that he let it out there. Does he? I wonder if anyone else has made any guesses at what it is, or if they agree that it does look like a fairy too. That is so cool, though. Wow, and that's the stuff that I love about this show. Is that the participation you guys bring. I would have never found these videos anywhere else. You guys complete me. I mean that sincerely. It sounds flaky, and I know it's a line from a movie, but I mean, it's you guys bring so much to the shows and make my day and job easier. So much easier. But if you want to call in and talk to me about it or anything else we've covered so far or something else that's on your mind, please feel free. The call-in board is open, and I do accept calls, and it's 720-923-0500. If you want to be a part of the portal, by all means, jump aboard. Paradoxical Anomaly. Oh, that's a cool name. That's in the TFR chat room, and Daryl's in there. I don't think Daryl was in there before. Good to see you. TC Hawk is in there. I don't remember that name from before either. Lynn. All right. Very cool. Divine Creatures in there. Very cool. All right. So, sorry, I'm a little froggy. We were cleaning out the garage today, too, so that was awful fun. That's the kind of fun you should only have once a year, I think. Otherwise, it would just spoil it for... if you did it too much, it just would quit being fun. Okay, another thing I want to cover here is there's 3 scientific explanations for ghost sightings. And now this is, again, coming from the independent.co.uk. And these kind of articles, I don't know. I mean, I understand people's needs to desire or need to try to, categorize, label, and shelf these things into more mundane kind of phenomena. But I don't know. With the experiences that I've had, and I've had a bunch of paranormal experiences with ghosts, I just couldn't tell you what it is. But let's see what they say here in this article that ghost explanations for ghost sightings are. All right, so let's get through the... Okay, the term ghost refers to the idea that the spirits of the dead, human and animal, influence the physical world. And the idea of a haunting can often include anything from a sensed presence or objects moving to spirit activity. But in a world filled with science and reasons, these hauntings can often boil down to a very simple explanation. So, and apparently this was written around Halloween time, so they reference Halloween. So the first thing that they believe is because I told you so. Attempts to explain hauntings often draw upon psychological factors, such as suggestion. So being told a place is haunted is more likely to lead to ghostly going-ons. Yeah, because it's haunted. I mean, they say it's haunted because it's haunted. I'm no scientist, but, can't ignore that either, can you? In one classical study, participants visited 5 main areas of a theater before completing a questionnaire to assess their feelings and perceptions. Prior to the tour, one group was told the location was haunted, while the other group was informed that the building was under renovation. Unsurprisingly, participants that were told the place was haunted experienced more intense experiences, similar to those of paranormal happenings. Verbal suggestion has also been shown to increase paranormal perceptions, as shown in research on seance phenomena. Paranormal key bending and psychic reading, especially when suggestion is consistent with existing paranormal beliefs. Wow. Yeah, this is kind of what I expected out of this article. So it is fair to say that the effects of suggestion vary depending upon the person's beliefs. And of course, paranormal believers are prone to endorsing alleged paranormal phenomena. This is my surprise face. Of course they are. While skeptics will deny the existence of the paranormal. Even if it's slapping them in the face, they'll deny it if they're truly a skeptic. This one I do agree with because I think there's something to this. And it says electromagnetic fields and spooky sounds. Other explanations draw on environmental factors such as electromagnetic fields and infrasound. Canadian neuroscientist Michael Persinger demonstrated that the application of varying electromagnetic fields to the temporal lobes of the brain could produce haunting experiences, such as perception of a presence or a feeling of God or sensations of being touched. And it has been noted that areas most associated with hauntings, such as Hampton Court, do possess erratic magnetic fields. Similarly, infrasound audio frequency belonging or below the range of human hearing is also thought to be able to explain such phenomena. Several studies have linked infrasound and bizarre sensations. In one example, a contemporary piece of live music was laced with infrasound, and the audience were then asked to describe their reactions to the music. More unusual experiences were reported when infrasound was present. Chills down the spine, feeling nervous, waves of fear, and uneasy or sorrowful emotion. So, I do agree that being subjected to electromagnetic fields that are abnormally high will generate the feelings of being watched, of paranoia, of that kind of nature. Infrasound is something that comes up quite often in Bigfoot research. I don't know. I guess that's a possibility as well. And I'm sure there's possibly naturally occurring phenomena causing infrasound from time to time. But the other part of that I think they're not addressing is that many people believe that those very same electromagnetic fields could be a spiritual presence. So doesn't that stand to reason then if a entity or a ghost or whatever appears and it's generating a high electromagnetic presence, well, sure, that'll have physiological reactions for the person there. Does that necessarily negate that it's a ghost? And I don't think so. Now, there are certain areas where there's faulty wiring, or, if you live under high tension wires of electrical wires or whatever, then yeah, you may be more subject to that. The other part of it is could those areas also be attractive to ghosts? If they have high EMF fields, could that be a good place for spirits and ghosts to congregate? Is there something that's generated from those electromagnetic fields that they like, that they may feed upon, that they may be able to use some of that energy? Now, many, I don't see it as much anymore in paranormal investigating, but I remember a lot of shows back in, the 2010, 2015 era would use EM pumps. They were these little tools that were supposedly would emit an electromagnetic field that they believed the ghost could use that energy in order to manifest or to do things or, whatever. I don't see that very often anymore, but, and I don't know why, whether that was kind of disproven or not, but I mean, it stands to reason that if ghosts could use that energy, then why wouldn't they be in those very same locations? I don't think you can dismiss those things because of that. But I do believe that the EM fields will create those feelings all on their own, whether or not there's a ghostly presence there. The third one is toxic hallucinations. Supernatural perception can also arise from reactions to toxic substances, such as carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, and pesticide. And it has also been suggested that fungal hallucinations caused by toxic mold could stimulate haunting-related perceptions. Shane Rogers and his team from Clarkston University in the U.S. observed similarities between paranormal experiences and the hallucinogenic effects of fungal spores. This may explain why ghost sightings often occur in older buildings with inadequate ventilation and poor air quality. The notion is not new, and experts have previously reported similar effects associated with old books. They claim that mere exposure to toxic molds can trigger significant mental or neurological symptoms, which create perceptions similar to those reported during haunting experiences. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that everything they're saying is not right, but they're certainly not considering all the variables. In that, does any of those negate the possibility that there's also a presence there? I mean, old buildings, of course, have old energy. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the hour break now, and we'll be right back with more of our show. So, I hope you're enjoying it, but be sure to come back. All right, don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Never lived anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to hour number 2 of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm thrilled you're here. And if you're wondering, the moon, the batteries are dead. It eats batteries. My moon eats batteries. Or the batteries are being drained. Uh-huh. You ever think about that? Mm-hmm. All right, so, because it is just LEDs in there. I don't know where the hell the juice is going. But it uses 4 AA's. It's like, really? That should burn for like 3 years on LED lights. But whatever. Who am I to judge? But ladies and gentlemen, we got a call on the board here, so let's get to our caller. It's our very own beloved Mr. MCAT, Mike Hetzel. Welcome to the show. Are you there?
What's going on there, buddy boy?
Hey, brother, how you doing? Are you breathing on your phone?
I'm doing. Let me back this off a little bit. I'm on my headset.
Okay. There you go.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
I'm doing all right.
So what do you think of those scientific explanations for ghosts?
I think they got to go back to the drawing board and keep looking.
You know, it's fun. It's funny because they come up with one idea and they remove every other variable except their one idea. It's like, no, you know, you can't put everything in just a vacuum like that. And that's what occurs to me as I'm reading it. And, you know, and I'm open to scientific explanation. And I think someday we'll be able to explain all this stuff scientifically. But we're not there yet. But the whole dismissal is kind of like, really? So everyone's stupid except you. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that. It's fungal activity, huh? Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You haven't had real hallucinations unless you've been road hallucinations from being tired on driving. Those are pretty trippy.
Oh, God.
Those are pretty weird. I was on 75 south of Georgia going into Florida, and the trees were leapfrogging over each other to keep up with me.
Oh, no.
And I said, I'm pretty tired. I think I should pull over because that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, that's a danger sign there, I think. Good call.
Yeah, yep. I better pull off. I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Anyway, the story I got for you tonight is one of our investigations. We did a house. This one in north central Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently, or reportedly, it had a body was underneath the concrete in the basement floor.
Oh.
And that was supposedly, and they had tape marked out what they thought it was. It was underneath the stairs, which is just weird. And the only thing that we really got, or that showed up, was I had I've told you about the compass I use. I have an aircraft liquid-filled compass that I use, just as an experiment to see if there's any magnetic changes.
Okay.
And when I reviewed, I've got a webcam pointing at that. That's a trap camera, and if it detects any movement, it'll start snapping pictures. And as I went through my pictures, there were these small red streaks that were going across the face of the compass. And I thought it could be a reflection of some kind, but the streaks were longer than the glass part of the compass.
Oh.
So it's got a glass part, and then it's got like a painted metal frame part, and then there's the floor, and it goes beyond all of that.
Wow.
And it went on for about the whole night. I was just seeing these little red streaks going across the compass. Yeah, that's interesting.
Now, did the needle change north and all that?
No, it didn't change heading at all.
Okay.
It stayed on one heading, but it was just these little red lights that were dancing all over in front of it.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
That's weird. It's enough to get your attention.
Yeah.
I know that after we left, it was the university, one of the state universities came by with ground penetrating radar. And as far as I heard, they didn't find anything.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So could be a lot of wives' tales, storytelling. Somebody saying that there's something down there when really it isn't. They just know that because that's what they heard from somebody that, right? These things can go on like that.
Sure. Wow. That's intense. Now, were you able to see the videos when I showed them?
I saw the one with the chair moving.
Okay, so you didn't see the other one? Okay. I gotcha. But the chair moving was a good capture.
Yeah, that was it looked like a security camera.
Yeah, it was. It was in the pub that they had stopped at. Very cool. And clearly people around noticed it. And it's funny, how often that comes up, that there's some kind of spiritual presence hanging out in bars. That seems to be a pretty active spot in many circumstances.
Well, I don't think it's that surprising. As human beings like to congregate in bars, I don't see why spirits wouldn't want to.
Right. Well, that's true too. I just realized I'd forgotten to put on my teeth.
Seemed like a good place to go to. Hey, you know what? If we don't make it out of this, look me up in the bar, will you?
Yeah, come buy me a pint. Yeah, that's about right. But I gotta say though, if I was gonna have to stick around anywhere for eternity, I think a bar would probably be a pretty good place, because there's never a dull moment. There's always something going on at a bar.
That's right. Yeah, you could probably have a pretty good time in a bar. It'd be a lot more fun than a church or a graveyard.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah, or just walking in being stuck in some kid's closet. It's like, what? I don't understand that too much. But yeah.
Yep.
So where are you at now?
I'm in St. Louis. I'm not getting shot at this time, so that's a plus.
Did you get shot at there?
Yeah. I was at the Budweiser plant, and I was hooking up my loaded trailer. And as I'm hooking up the trailer, I hear overhead the bullets whistling by.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, what the hell? And two guys go running down, and the yard dog comes by, and he goes, hey, did you hear we're getting shot at? I was like, dude, what? I heard something go by, and he goes, welcome to St. Louis, and drove off.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, my God.
Nope. I was like, well, I better get out of here then.
Somebody got a real problem with Budweiser, huh?
Well, it wasn't Budweiser. It was there were two guys that were repoing some piece of equipment, and the people they were taking it from weren't too happy about them taking it. And so, it wasn't one of those to with their name on it. It was the ones that say "to whom it may concern." It was that kind of scenario.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad you didn't have that same event again. Otherwise, we'd have to start channeling you.
Oh man, I got a long list of people I'm going to go visit afterwards. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. Well, it's always great to hear from you, brother. Thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the show.
Yeah, you betcha, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, drive safely, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you later. Bye.
That's our good friend MCAT. He's always out on the road, and he's always taking part of the show. I just love that. And we got another call. We got actually 2 calls on the board here. First is Miss Diane, and we're going to get to her. And then we got, I think Rhonda's on hold too. So let's get to Miss Diane and see what's going on. Hello, Miss Diane. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Help me, Rhonda. You got to help us tonight, Rhonda. Anyway, MCAT, always good to hear from MCAT. Hey, I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too.
I have kind of a funny story tonight.
Okay.
A couple of funny stories.
Wonderful.
But I have to back them up just a little bit because there's a little bit of backup to it. There's this guy, one of the places where I go, and he's a scientific type, and he's always poo-pooing everything. He's always trying to obfuscate and give some kind of, even if it's one of those, he's one of those people that will really reach far. I mean, the most unlikely explanation, but as long as it fits in the Euclidean terms, And like he would, so, me and him don't talk very much because I'm just like, dude, I hate to tell you, there's way more to life. But,
Yeah.
so, we don't really talk very much. And so I hear him, though, in front of me talking to somebody else. And he is talking. See, every now and then I get into this, does it really matter what I'm doing? Does anybody really care? Is it really that important? Is it really, how you get, because you're human, right?
Right. Sure.
You wonder, does anybody ever appreciate this really? Because I do a lot of things. I find myself, and I do almost everything for no pay. Mm-hmm. So it's funny, I'm hearing him in line, and he said, it's a funny thing about Kent. We haven't had any really gangbuster storms in a long, long time. It's really weird. It's like the storm comes towards Kent, and then just as it reaches Kent, it's like it splits in two and goes right around.
Nice.
I'm there going, and he goes, I just don't understand it. I don't know how it does that. I don't know why.
Right.
And I'm sitting, I'm like, I know I can't tell, I know why. I can't tell him why. Mm-hmm. But there's this very old technique that the village wise person was supposed to do to protect a village called splitting the wind.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing it for years every time a storm comes along.
Oh, very nice.
And it's so funny. And I'm sitting there going, well, I could tell you, but I don't think you'll get it.
No.
But to hear that from somebody, it's so funny. It's like this scientific dude. I just don't understand how this is happening. But it always seems to just go around, split in two and go around. It's so weird.
Well, that's, at least he admitted. At least he admitted he didn't understand, and that's a good step.
Yeah, he admitted that. He just didn't understand. I couldn't tell him though. I couldn't tell him. He wouldn't get it. He'd find some other reason for it to happen. He'd come up with something. But and then there was another one too. One of the people who I cleared her place. She's having a gallbladder attack, and she's going, oh, my gallbladder. And I did my little healing thing on her. Mm-hmm. I said, are you ready to let it not Son create it and destroy it? She's like, okay. And I said, okay, just hang on a minute. And then she's holding her side, and then she gets this weird look on her face.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, it's gone. And you know what? It's worth it for the look on people's face.
Right.
They think you're going to do, they think you're kidding. They think you're lying. They think you're making it up, right? They think you're going to do some mumbo jumbo, some long incantation or prayer or whatever, and it's like, and she's just like, oh my God. And her son is like, oh my God, how did you do that? It's like, how do I do anything? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I keep doing it.
I wish I could tell you exactly how that works. I know what I do. I don't know how it works. I couldn't really tell you that exactly, but so I'm sitting here and going, yeah, I guess it is all worth it, even though I have to kind of be one of those people. Sometimes I take the problem so much out of the person's life, it's like it never existed, and they forget that they ever had it, which is why I'm going to start requiring people to write down what they need help with first, so I have some proof. When they said that never happened, I'm going to be like, oh yeah? Whose writing is this?
Yeah. Well, no, that's
because
a good idea.
Because they forget.
No.
It's like it never happened for them. I mean, it gets to the point, and so I'm wondering, are we really somehow creating another timeline when we're doing some of this stuff?
Yeah, maybe you're going right into Mandela. Yeah.
It's just another one of those questions that I kind of need help with, guys, and welcome your input. But yeah, that's what it kind of seems like to me. It kind of seems like another person had a story where they did their thing for a guy who had his leg dragged by a car.
Oh.
He was dragged behind a car accidentally. He got caught in a car and dragged behind the car. Somebody was getting away. It was a policeman.
Oh.
And so they did their thing, and he was in terrible condition. They were talking about amputating his leg and a lot of pain, and it was horrible, and they did their thing. This is my friend Paul and his wife. They did their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, they're saying, they say, so how is he? And the condition had entirely changed. It had completely changed. It was like, oh, well, it's going to take a week or two, but he's feeling better.
That's wonderful.
Not, no more amputation. That was never there.
Yeah.
Another time he fixed someone's back. He fixed someone's back that said they had gotten it from carrying this six-pack up a hill, hiking.
Oh.
And he fixed their back, and then they were telling people, he heard him telling people about, hey, I had a backache, but I guess carrying this six-pack somehow must have straightened my back out.
Yeah, it's a thankless thing.
Go ahead.
I said it's a thankless thing to help some people.
Yeah, well, I think maybe this gives us some light as why we don't have more proof.
Right.
Because they don't remember it ever existed, because for them, it never existed.
Well,
it never happened.
But you got to.
It wasn't even ever there.
You got to remember, though, that people will desperately hang on to their paradigm, and they will talk themselves out of anything that challenges, their status quo. And of course, spontaneous healing is a huge event, and I've experienced that myself many times. And and ladies and gentlemen, if you're sitting out there listening to this, going, "Oh man," here's the thing. This is what I firmly believe is that our reality is that we're spiritual. We are a spiritual being, but we are manifest through this physical form in order to participate in this world. But everything starts out as spirit, and so in some cases, in many cases, physical maladies can be corrected just simply by realigning that energy. And it happens. There's so many cases of spontaneous healing all over the place, all over the face of the earth, and many, any religion, culture, whatever. I mean, this stuff happens. There are these healers that can do this, and while it seems like a fantastical idea that belongs in an old book, it really does exist. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. It's a real thing. It can happen, but it's up to the person. But I understand what you're saying, Dee.
Yeah, I know it could actually, both of those explanations are true as to why we don't have much more proof of, we don't have proof of everything. Partly because people will come up with the explanation that best suits them,
right?
Their frame of mind, and also because in some cases they may not remember it ever existed. So I'm sitting here and I'm going, how many times might we, we might have been toast in 2012, but somehow somebody went back and said, no, but it's not going to be that way.
Sure.
We don't even know.
Right.
Maybe some of these disasters happened, or, and somebody went back and said, no, I don't want that to ever have happened, so it didn't happen. So it's a failed prophecy now, but actually that's a good thing, and we're all glad, but,
right.
Maybe it was due to happen. I don't know. And now you have to think. Now you get into these tangles. Well, I'm a philosopher. Sorry about your luck. So I think about these things. It's like, what's really going on here? Yeah. And once again, I can't get any closer. All these years later, but to say just about what you said, it's all energy. It's all energy.
Yeah,
energy can be changed.
Yep.
There's resonance and dissonance, and if you play the resonance, something will get stronger. If you play the dissonance, it will begin to flatten and disappear.
Right.
And that is the nature of our life, and that also adds to the possible, what we call the simulation factor.
Mm-hmm.
So
it
just
is.
A thought.
And
that was my thoughts for the night.
Well, those are good thoughts, and even in terms of physics, any physicist worth his salt will tell you that the most fundamental part of matter is energy. Everything exists energetically, but we perceive that energy in physicality. But at its root, every bit of matter in this universe is energy. So the idea that has to be static and unyielding is just a paradigm, really. We just have to grow to understand that, and this is my 2 cents for what it's worth, but we are creator beings. We have the ability to do amazing things, profound things. But we have so many systems in our world that tell us to be afraid, to be weak, to subject yourself to another will, and so many things directing us to not awaken. And so those that do awaken, do amazing things, I think. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, that was your paradigm.
that was a handful of dimes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, dear.
That was your paradigms for tonight. 2 cents, it's inflation, Brent.
All right. I like it.
Now we gotta, have two dimes instead of 2 pennies. But anyway.
Right.
Okay. Love you guys. And that was my thoughts for tonight. Can't wait to hear what the next one's gonna talk about. We all have these profound things.
We do.
Love you.
Love you too. Thanks for calling in and being a part of the show, Dee.
Okay, bye.
All right. And we do have Rhonda on the phone, and then we got another one calling in behind her. So, but we're about a minute out of the break, so I'm going to answer the call with Rhonda. But hello, are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
Is this Rhonda?
Yes,
Okay.
this is Rhonda.
We're about a minute out of the break, so I hope you don't mind, but hold the line until we're done with break and we can dive into your call. And, I do apologize, but it's just the way the show rolls. So if you'll hold on just a minute, we're going to go to break, ladies and gentlemen, but be sure to check out the Paranormal Portal podcast, if you would, please. I'm going to remute you, Rhonda. I'll get to you on the other side, though, but just hold on. Be sure to check out the Paranormal Portal podcast on iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Please check it out. The new one was released today, and it's part 2 of our interview with Duke. Don and I interviewed Duke and had a great time. And I hope you guys will check it out. And please subscribe and help support our endeavor in the podcast verse. But we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal. 1.5 hour remaining. We'll see what we can get into. last half hour of our show tonight. And before I get into the call, I just wanted to post these up. These are some images Duke just sent us as well to show on the show. Let me get this up here. Why is it not showing up? That's weird. That's very strange. Let me try again. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, there it is. Finally. Okay, let me get this on the screen so you guys can see it. But this is apparently some fairy images that Duke had found as well. And these are allegedly photos of fairies. And this is from Manchester Evening News syndication showing these images. And I think there's another one here. And this one as well. And honestly, that's not a whole lot different than the white image that I saw on that video. Very wild. And thank you, Duke, for sending those in, both of which are from the Manchester Evening News syndication. So to give them their due, I'm not claiming ownership of them, but just a couple of cool images to share with you guys that seem to depict that same shape. So, all right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And let's get to our call. This is Miss Rhonda. Welcome back and welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
How are you tonight?
I'm doing really good. It's been a busy day, but I'm having a great time.
Good. You were telling at the beginning of the show about that your son it's your son, right? That's 3 years old.
Yeah.
Seeing some things.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I think the way you're handling it's really good. But I went blank.
Don't be afraid of it.
To try to let him, to be honest with him. If he has questions, answer his questions. The best way you can, the mind of your son. But our son, our 12-year-old, he sees things and he's heard things and he's come in and say, Mom, I see something in my closet, or I seen something by the window or something. And of course he's 12 years is 3, but I kind of showed him.
This is 7.
What you call shields.
Okay, sure.
Protection shield.
Excellent.
And it's, you picture if you can, some, 3-year-olds, you might be able to tell them to kind of picture a box, a white box, and do a little prayer or something, go to be gone, to go away, and picture him in a little box that is for safe and protection.
Picture who? Himself,
do you understand?
Picture himself or the entity?
That he's in this box, protected.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Okay.
You've got your north, east, south, and west, and above and below. It's just a box, and that whatever's out there can't get him.
Right.
I mean, you would have to use it in your own words.
Okay, right.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. Yep.
I would do some sea salt around around his room, and also I would do it around your house. I'm picking up a lot of negativity. I think that's the reason why you're having a lot of issues with your equipment.
Huh. Okay.
I think you have some negatives, and I think you have some good, positive ones.
Sure.
When you open a portal and when you start talking about the supernatural, it kind of brings it to you.
It's kind of like what you was talking about with the Ouija boards. There's not good, there's not bad. It's just an open portal.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of sage.
Yes.
I would do sage every day. And now you mentioned sage before
Yeah,
a couple of days ago.
I have sage and frankincense, and I have sea salt. Yep.
Okay. But they cannot, they can't harm. They're just gonna try to scare you. The negative ones you just got to, and even you can picture yourself that a house shielded, a box, north, your elements.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a saying that I got from our guides.
Okay.
And I will put it on. He can put it online, but you say, and even if you want to say it right now, it's say nay Kanye. It means be thee gone.
Okay.
And what is ever in that room should go. That's negative.
And you said
you're cutting out real bad. Are you? I don't know.
No,
if you're talking or
I'm not talking. I'm just listening. But you said say nay Kanye, be gone.
Say nay Kanye, be thee gone.
Be gone. Okay.
I wrote it on the thing.
And he wrote it on the thing. And when you start your show, just banish them away. Tell them to go.
And it would only take away negative, not good.
Right, the negative ones.
Excellent. That's great advice.
It's hard to explain.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Nick?
I just say it would only take away the negatives, not the good ones.
Right. Yep.
Well, the negative and the goods have different energies. And there are certain sayings that will come to me. And while we was listening to listen to you today, this came out of the blue, and it just hit me. And I wrote this down on a piece of paper, and I said, Rhonda, this came to me just now. And she said, well, how do you pronounce it? And I said, well, it's say nay Konya, even though it's not spelled exactly the same, but that's the way it's pronounced. And she says, what does it mean? And then what came on me was, it's be thee gone.
Yeah.
And thee is in darkness.
Gone. Yeah, you put it right.
And so I said, I think we need to tell him this. And she says, well, I'm calling in, and here we are.
That's fantastic. I mean,
don't let it scare you.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't usually get worked up at all.
That is. It's cutting out real bad.
No, he's stopping. We're talking too.
Yeah, I'm hearing you talk, but I'm just saying I've been around supernatural and ghostly things for decades, and usually for the most part it doesn't frighten me at all. I don't know, maybe something's broken in me, but I never have been frightened by any of it.
It's the way that I've been to my life.
Yeah, Ron has never been frightened by anything. Me, oh gosh, I'll take off running.
But the negatives, they cannot harm you. Do your blessings, your prayers, your sage. Sea salt is very good.
I would like to caution. I do believe they can harm you. I've got family members who've been very harmed. I know what you're saying, and I believe the nature of what you're saying is absolutely right. But I do believe that they can harm people. But what you're saying about protection is brilliant.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh yes, they can harm, especially with. I don't think she meant that way.
Okay.
No, I meant by when you do your protection.
Right. Perfect.
Once you've done protection, they can't.
You call up on the universe and you have their protection, the divine. They can't. That's what I meant. They can't harm you.
Right. No, and I appreciate that. That's wonderful and great advice for sure. I like that. I like the box. Now I've always used bubbles. But I like the box because I think that'll be easier for him at his age to conceptualize more so than a bubble around himself. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, and that's what we were explaining. We one time went to a store, and we were explained, okay, listen, you're going to go to the store, and there are some good ones in there that we need to get. Mm-hmm. And there's also negative ones on the outside trying to come in. And so they explained to us how to shield a store, picture paint on the roof, going over the roof and down the edges, where you have vents, you have extra rooms. It's not a perfect square, but the paint you can imagine going through around it's not a perfect square, not a perfect box.
Right. Yep.
And that's how they explain it to us, that you can shield this building even though it's not a perfect square.
To keep negatives out. But on your son, I was just, like, I commend you to leave, or whatever he wants to say. It's going to be cute because he's 3 years old. But, leave right now, or whatever. And then tell him, put your stuff in a box. Whatever color box you want. If you want blue, green, whatever, just make a box.
He'll know his own color.
Yeah, and just to say them words, get out of here. I commend you to leave, or whatever, and just put a box. Look at your north, east, south, and west.
Yes.
And especially being a child, their power is more stronger than ours.
Yeah, children haven't been contaminated yet.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, I wanted to mention that,
I appreciate that.
You probably already knew all this. I don't know, but
I
helped or not.
I have to be honest. A lot of it I did know, but I still learn every time someone shares their advice and their insight. So I appreciate it all, and I think that and quite honestly, I would have to repeat it every show all the time, because we always have new listeners coming in. So I'm glad you said everything you said, because there's someone out there that needed to hear that as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's really what it was. It's a lot of people fear their children, and a lot of darkness will attack a person's children.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we've learned through these years of us doing what we're doing. And they will try to use children. They will.
Well, you just show them that that's not going to stop you.
Yeah, and then children are stronger than we think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
That.
And it's an amazing for your children. You know what I mean?
In other words, what they're trying to do is they're trying to scare you to quit doing what you do.
Oh.
You're spreading word of
exactly
the paranormal. You're spreading word of the unknown, the supernatural, and these negatives out there. They don't want them to. We might know, but we don't know exactly what they do.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense. Yep.
Yeah, the darkness is not wanting you to do what you're doing, Brent.
They don't want people coming together and believing in this and communicating.
Strength in numbers kind of
because
thing.
They want to keep fear in us. They want us to be robots.
Sure.
And be controlled. And
once you start breaking from that and you start doing like what you're doing now, you are basically becoming a beacon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she's trying to say.
And I've heard you say you're a beacon. You could be a beacon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you know about beacons.
Yeah.
And once they know that you are doing what you're doing, they're going to do all they can, and they will attack. And they do not have any place they will not go.
Just don't let them manipulate. I know there's another person waiting to call in. So, but that was all. That's really all I had to really say.
No,
so
I think it's beautiful, and thank you so much for saying everything you did say. You guys have been with us a short time, but you've brought a whole lot of light to the show. So, thank you guys for all that you've done.
Hopefully, we can bring more. All right, thank you, and good night.
All right, good night, guys. Thank you so much.
We're still continuing in the show.
Okay. All right, good night. Very nice. I always love it. Don't ever think that your guys' opinion doesn't matter. I mean, everybody has their own take on all this stuff, and so everybody that contributes brings something more to the conversation. So, and that's what I love about the portal. This is a conversation. It's not listen to me and do what I say. That's never going to be what the portal is. So I love it when you guys call in and participate. All right, and now we're on area code 714. You're on the air.
My name is Diana. I'm with the Sisters Wood. I'm actually
Oh.
a first-time listener and watcher.
Oh, wonderful.
And yeah, we are actually an investigation team as well.
Oh, cool.
But we've had some real interesting experiences. I've also had childhood experiences as well. My grandmother, who none of us ever met, passed away 2 years, and I'm the firstborn in 1970. So she died in 1968. So we didn't know of her. But both my brother and I conversed maybe about 18 years ago. And we both saw the same woman, although he saw a different colored dress, walking down our hallway in our childhood home.
Oh, cool.
So neither one of us knew. Both of us experienced it separately, although she saw me twice, and he says he only remembers one time. So I went to a medium about 2 years ago, and she mentioned to me, did you live in a home that had a back house? And I'm from Southern California. We don't have a lot of back houses. I'm originally from the South Bay area, like Redondo Beach, Torrance, that kind of area.
Okay.
And I said, no, we don't have a back house. And she says, well, how about a separate garage or anything like that? And I said, ding. And because she mentioned, this is a long time ago, I said, it was my childhood home. She said, well, your grandmother's here, and she says she's always been with you guys.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I said, oh, so that's who it was. And she just keeps saying, it's your mom, it's my daughter, my grandson, my granddaughter. And I said, yes, it was that majority of those years in that home. She said, well, she came to visit you. But the funny thing is, it's almost like spirit would play with me. And what I mean with play with me, you know, like most kids, mom closed the closet door.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it didn't do that. To my brother, he was a little bit more scared. He had a problem sleeping in his own room. So I think them visiting him in his room, he got a little scared. So he'd come in my room, and then periodically I'd wake up, and my clothes are like dancing in the air, and I'm like, what's going on here? You just don't think about it. So fast forward to now, being part of an investigation, I've had some health issues. So I've had a lot of both of my grandmothers coming into dreams, and then I'm going to bring this person, and it feels like that because I have more of them in my dreams rather than real life.
Oh, okay.
But during the investigations, we've had some crazy things. We went to the Whaley House in Old Town San Diego.
Sure.
And we went near the Cosmopolitan, and there's supposed to be a restaurant that they don't give spoons because spirit throws spoons, but we didn't really investigate there. We did mostly Whaley House. And I was feeling electric charge up my arm through my hand. And they used to have a dog, they say, his spirit is there. Well, I was feeling it up and down the right side of my calf. And they're saying that tree outside the Whaley House has a vortex in it. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But I'm going to tell you, that's the first time I felt something like that. And we have a canyon that was known to have like a lot of, back in the old days when the Indians were fighting and everything like that, there's a known they have like a battle that was fought there. Boy, we've heard drummers drumming, and we didn't hear, you kind of hear it, but boy, when you get on the recordings, you can really hear it.
Wow.
And one of my friends that's part of the great cast had a rock thrown at her backpack.
Oh, geez.
Someone threw a rock at me. So it was really interesting. And then we got an EVP saying, kill them. So it's almost like they're still fighting the war.
Oh, okay. So you don't think that was
So
directed
we've
at
had
you?
really
That was
no, it wasn't directed to us
okay.
as
Good.
a negative spirit. I'm very white light. I don't want anything but white light.
Right.
When I did see the medium, she said, don't accept negativity in, and you will not get it in. And be emphatic about it. Never waver from it.
Oh.
Because the moment you waver from it and don't mention, I want someone here of the white light.
Mm-hmm.
I want my spirit guides. I know I have spirit guides. I have at least 2. She told me their names. So I know I have at least 2. I've been told 3, but a lot of protection around me feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels good. So when I do the investigations, kick them out. I don't even want to let them in. That negativity I can't have around me. I need that positive.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. That's wonderful, and it's really cool to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you found the show.
Oh, nice meeting you too.
How did you find the show?
Oh yeah. Well, my friend Cass, who's part of the group, she found your show. So she says, listen to this. You'll be really interested. So I've been listening to it this whole time. And thank you, Rhonda, for giving up your time to let me talk.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I wanted to call in. We've been having experiences, and those vortex feel it feels odd because the charge is so strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
And you can really feel it. I don't know if you travel, but San Diego has some interesting places. Orange County does. We just got finished with the Calico Mine that's in going towards Las Vegas and Yermo. And we caught some anomalies there in the pictures and possibly full apparitions inside the mine.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're fairly new. We've been doing this maybe about 8 months, but boy, it's very interesting what you can feel, what you can get as EVPs.
Right.
And what people really want to say to you. There's people that want to say something that's never had a chance to communicate through anyone that enjoys speaking.
That's the one thing I wish that everyone could experience. I mean, of course, the ghost shows on TV are fantastic and fun to watch, and they're entertaining. But you just you really haven't touched the paranormal until you're in that thick soup of energy, and when you feel like you have to fight for every step, and there's just a force bearing down at you at all times, and the creepiness that goes with that. It's so profound, and I wish there was a way to relay that experience so that everybody could understand that. But my hat's off to you. You've really gone to some really excellent places, and it's cool that you're getting lots of evidence as well.
Yeah, the experience is really good. I know there's probably different people that go into different places, and they may not have the positivity.
Sure.
But I think if you go in with the positivity, and there's 4 of us, so when we're all 4 together, even if it's 2 or 3 of us together, we go in with the same attitude. Oh no, it's positivity. That's all we need. That's all we'll get. And all of us have experienced something. We've even done EVPs at our friend's house in Las Vegas, and we got a lot of communication.
Oh, fantastic.
As a matter of fact, the one that shocked me the most is when I had went to the medium, and she's actually here in Southern California, and she's kind of done, she's done the Hollywood scene, and I've seen her on a few shows. She does really good, and I had gone to her through a really close friend of mine, and she says, I can call heaven. And essentially, we got communication back. Her daughter passed away as a teenager. And I gave her this message, and the message said, Mom, don't delete us. And you can hear it as clear as day. And mind you, it's like an office. She has a desk. She's sitting behind the desk. She's in the light. I'm sitting on the other side of the desk like I'm an employee. She's talking to me. And all of a sudden, I'm leaving a voicemail message. So we're using one of her cell phones. We're calling my cell phone.
I do apologize, but we're actually all out of time for tonight. But I really
okay, no problem.
I really hope you'll call in and share the rest of that. We'll be live tomorrow night again. So if you don't mind, please call in and share that. I'd love to hear the rest of it.
I sure will. It's a great time, and thank you for taking my call.
All right, good night, and thank you so much for finding us. Everybody, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Stick around for Nikki Colombo coming up next, and then later on, Paisley Wild, Spaces in Between. Love you all. Have a great night.